you decided to take on a no-buy or a low-buy in 2021, you have probably found that at some point between starting it in January and now, you have been tempted to shop, whether that's in person or online. And I want to bring you 7 tips today to help you manage your impulse to shop, or even ways in which you can continue to shop that stay within the rules of your no-buy. Nobody said doing a no-buy would be easy or come without its temptations, and we live in a society where shopping simply for the fun of it, out of hobby, for pleasure, has become the norm. And so when we are surrounded by people that want to shop just for fun, that can definitely rub off on us and make us feel like we want to shop and spend money for the sake of it as well. But if you've decided to do a no-buy, you may be faced with these temptations but are actually trying not to give in to them. And so let's talk now about ways you can continue to shop, whether that's alone or socially, and still stay within your no-buy rules. First, take note of any practical purchases that you genuinely need to make. If you're shopping alone, if you're out and about and you just happen to stumble into some stores and you've got that urge to shop, then knowing that there are items that you genuinely need and that you will get a lot of use out of, and spending your shopping time, if you like, looking for something that would fit what you're looking for, is a really good way to satisfy the urge to shop. You're not then making pointless purchases that you didn't really need because you're sticking to the things that you've actually thought about and that you know you're going to use. This also applies if you're out shopping with friends, if it's a more social shopping situation and you are very aware that other people are buying things and spending money and you don't want to feel left out. Of course, you should never feel pressurized into spending money. You are more than welcome to go out on a shopping trip and not actually buy anything. But if you are feeling like you want to join in with that and you want to enjoy spending money and shopping, then having a list of things that you actually genuinely need and looking for those items and buying those items is a brilliant way to continue shopping for fun, but also making sure you're not making any wasteful purchases. My next tip is to think about others. If you're out shopping, that doesn't mean you have to be out shopping for things for yourself that are going to break your no-buy rules. If your no-buy rules have given you the freedom to make sensible purchases for people's birthdays or other occasions or events you have coming up, then use your shopping time to really look for a gift that that person is absolutely going to love. That way, you're not breaking your no-buy rules, you're still able to enjoy shopping and browsing and finding something that the person who's going to receive the gift is really going to enjoy. Your shopping time doesn't have to be spent looking for something for you that if you buy it, it's then going to break your no-buy rules. There are other people that throughout the year I'm sure you're going to need to buy gifts for, so you can use that as a way to continue shopping, whether that's alone or socially, and satisfy that impulse to shop. Another thing to consider is shopping secondhand. For many of us, the reason that we start a low buy or a no buy is to save money. And if you shop for your items secondhand, you are significantly going to reduce the cost of those items. Also, you may be doing a no-buy or a low-buy to reduce the number of items you purchase and bring into your home. So if you restrict yourself to second-hand stores, it's not a guarantee that you're always going to find what you're looking for, and therefore you might be put off making that purchase for a while. And remember, if you do decide to shop second-hand, you're not contributing to the production and manufacturing of brand new products, meaning you're also doing your bit to support ethical and eco-friendly practices. My next tip is to set a time limit on the amount of time you spend shopping, or to make some other plans. For example, I could be out shopping for essentials. It could be something like my groceries. But if your particular grocery store or supermarket is in sort of a retail park where there's other shops, it can be very easy to be distracted by the other shopping possibilities. So I had the mindset that I was going there to run errands. I was doing my grocery shop and I had other tasks I needed to do when I got home. I had other errands to run around town. So I wasn't there to shop leisurely. I was there to get my essentials and then go. And that's really helped me because I was not then viewing shopping as leisure time. My leisure time was for other things now, the other hobbies and activities that I really enjoyed doing, or spending some time relaxing. And if you're shopping socially, having other plans can be really helpful to make sure you limit the amount of time you spend shopping so you're less likely to give in to temptation. Or if you're trying to cut back on the amount of time you spend shopping and you want a way to sort of initiate that in the first place. You know, make your excuses, explain to your friends that you have got other plans, so you can come shopping for maybe an hour, 2 hours, but then you have got other commitments that you need to go to. My next tip is to window shop. Just because you're out shopping, it doesn't mean you actually have to make a purchase. You can even browse, you can have a look for the things that you may want to consider purchasing in the future. They may be very genuine potential future purchases, and you can pop those on your wish list so you can have a good long think about it. So it's not just an impulse buy, or even just look for inspiration on outfits or styling in the home. There are loads of different things you can look for and get inspiration for, but you don't have to make an immediate purchase. My next tip is to set a spending limit. Even if you're doing a low buy or a no buy, that doesn't mean you're not allowed to treat yourself. Maybe as part of your rules, or even as something you want to introduce now that you've heard the idea, you give yourself a small treat. Maybe it's after every 2 months, maybe it's after a quarter, maybe a third of the way into the year, maybe halfway through the year, really depending on when you're watching this. And if you've done really well, you are more than welcome to reward that effort with some shopping if you want to. If you think this is a bad idea and it's going to completely derail you, then of course you don't have to follow this. You don't have to follow every single tip in the video. But it could be a way to reward yourself if you think that sort of strategy would work for you. If you work well off a I'll work hard and then get a reward sort of system, then that's absolutely fine. But let's keep it sensible and realistic. If your goal for your no buy was to save money, then set a spending limit. If you've decided that you're going to treat yourself to a little shopping spree, then give yourself this amount of money. And that's it. You can't spend beyond that. You've got this little bit and you're going to go out and treat yourself because you've done so well with your no buy for 6 months. And have that treat, but set that spending limit so you can't go beyond that. Make sure it's a spending limit you're not going to feel guilty about. And one thing that I find really helps if you're going to do this is to take that money out in cash. It is so easy to spend on our card. It happens so quickly, you almost don't even think about it. Let's say you've decided to give yourself £100 or $100, wherever you are, and you've got that cash in your hand. It is so much easier to see what you are spending and appreciate that value of money and realise when it's gone, that's it, it's run out, it's gone. Whereas when we pay on our card, it's a lot harder to track. I think as well, when we spend on our card, we forget about the smaller increments, like the few pounds and the pennies. If we buy something that's, let's say, $21.99, in our head we probably say, oh, that's £20 or $20. Whereas if we actually spent that $21.99 out of our cash, we would have less left than if we had just treated that as £20. And if you do that with a lot of small purchases, those few bits will add up. And if you did that just on your card, you would probably find yourself spending a little bit over that budgeted amount that you set out. So set yourself a spending limit if you are going to give yourself a treat. And if you can, take it out and pay in cash. And tip number 7 is to just remember your rules. I think most of us doing a no buy or a low buy acknowledge the fact that it would be a pretty miserable year if we were not allowed to buy anything. That's why we set ourselves the rules. It's to limit us in the places we need to, but also to give us some freedom in others, so we can actually spend a little bit and buy a few things where we really want to. So if you are out shopping and you do want to treat yourself, make sure you're keeping it in line with your rules. Treat yourself in areas that you're allowed to treat yourself, and that means you're not going to feel guilty afterwards. Last year was the first year for my no buy, and I gave myself houseplants out of all sort of household items because I really wanted some houseplants, and I knew that I wanted houseplants for my house, and it was just, I happened to start my no buy and I hadn't got the plants yet, and I gave myself that freedom. So if I wanted to buy plants, I absolutely could. This year I've given myself clothing, which was a massive, massive restriction for me last year, but this year I've decided I want to get my capsule wardrobe to become something that I actually really, really enjoy. So I've freed up clothing for myself this year so that I can make my capsule wardrobe something I love. You have probably given yourself your own freedoms within your rules, so shop within those. So those are my 7 tips for doing your no buy. And just remember, just because you're out shopping, whether you're alone or with other people, that does not mean you have to buy anything. Please do not feel pressured into buying something that you are going to regret, into spending money you're trying to save. Think about the bigger picture, think about your overall goals. Do not be persuaded. But of course, give yourself those freedoms if you want to. Think about the different ways you can still continue to shop and enjoy shopping, but keeping within your rules or even reasonable rewards for your hard work and good effort with your no buy so far. That's all from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Bye.